My mom's from Fort Erie, and my mother was valedictorian in her grade 13 class. And the good part is she met my dad. The bad part is she met my dad because they probably got married too early and got stuck with 7 of us kids. Similarly, the Omsteads, my dad, came from a family of hard work. And if I was to really nail down a couple things, it would be the ability to pass on the work ethic. So back in 1971, that I went to St. Andrews College north of Toronto. It was a military school. From St. Andrews, I went for a short stint to Western University, and I won't elaborate on the fact that I didn't put a lot of hours in the classes, but it certainly was a nice break from an all-boys school. From there, I went out to Calgary and learned that a 28-ounce corrugated head hammer wasn't what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Came back and somehow ran into a remedial course to pick up some courses at St. Clair College. Connected with Isaac Barsky, whom at the time had put together an industrial engineering program. And that's when I, for the first time in my life, decided to really buckle down and actually got my highest marks in my life in the hardest course in my life. At that time, certainly my dad was really trying to foster an entrepreneurial spirit. And with the support of my mom, got involved in this fish and chip trailer and learned a lot, mostly of what not to do. Came back to Omsteads, and it just so happened my dad fit me in with Bob Richmond, who would become my mentor. The rule of thumb with Bob is that you either made it happen with him or you were gone. So about 5 years later, Victoria Day weekend on the Friday around 2 o'clock, I walked off the job, I got upset. And within a couple weeks, obviously I had an idea. I connected with a processor farming operation in Prince Edward County. And we together developed a symbiotic relationship where I took title and we came up with the brand Family Tradition. And the reason for Family Tradition is I wanted to pull forward, not that we're smart enough on our own, but I wanted to emulate a culture and a way that I had learned as a kid. So I can't really take credit other than I became like a disciple of the past. It sounded easy at the beginning, it wasn't. Half my business, our business, was with Heinz. Overnight, we lost the Heinz business when they bought Omstead's. There was a misunderstanding, but that's what happened. So through desperation comes inspiration. I started loading up samples, driving around Michigan to the large golf courses, Detroit athletic clubs, went out there and sold ourselves, and they would always say, well, who's going to deliver it? Well, I'll deliver it. Can you imagine? And 80% of them were what I call Michael Jordan slam dunks, and it just exploded. So once that was established, we had great support. But it was when we went into the United States and did the exact same thing, did we take traction. And within about 2-3 years, we ran out of supply. We were beyond their capacity. And that's when, in the newspaper, we heard of Green Giant in Tecumseh either being sold or closing. So in the end, we put the deal together with Green Giant. So we tweaked that thing. In the first year, we went from 42 million pounds, was their record, to 56 million. After that, for the next 2 years, I really tried to determine what my lot in life was insofar as a career goes. And we had retained a facility in Wheatley, which was primarily a cold frozen storage warehouse. So we decided to really take a stab at it. And we studied the industry, and we saw that there would be an opportunity to model our direction in the fish business in a differentiated way to that of our peers and apply many of the things that we have in our own family tradition as well as some different things. There's always a risk when you're selling a business. When we sold the vegetables, it was a little more conducive to making a deal happen when we sold the brand Family Tradition. So when we sold Family Tradition, we always had John O's in red. And so effectively, we wiped the one out and we branded that. So we do perch, we do pickerel. We bring in what they call European perch and pickerel. You know, we all want to be economically viable as a company or a person. And we all want to be environmentally sustainable. But there is that third component. And I think in the days of multinationals now, where there isn't that caring, either directly as a person or pulling out of communities, no name mentioned, you know, like Heinz, it's important that we that remain, who are of the vision of the importance of this, step up to the plate and consider that and put some time into that to a balanced point. You can't live it. I mean, Shan and I have 4 kids, so there's a balance. But you really need to look at what your passions are. And if your passions are things that really are not focused, I would offer that a more hands-on, smaller approach is a great way to maybe transition into and then either stay at a place like St. Clair College or identify where to go from there. I wasn't expecting to go there. I went in there to pick up a few courses. I was planning to go to university. Practice what you preach. Preach what you practice.